What happens when the most disciplined creature in the forest fails? Not just a moment of weakness, not just a skipped habit, but a complete collapse of everything he stood for? This was no ordinary tortoise. He was the symbol of self-mastery, the walking embodiment of mental toughness, habit formation, and peak performance. He didn't preach discipline. He lived it. He didn't chase motivation. He engineered systems that made motivation irrelevant. But the truth is, even the most well-designed systems can crack under the right kind of pressure. And it all started with a whisper of temptation. One moment, one decision that unraveled everything. In the heart of a vibrant, thriving forest, where the morning winds carried news faster than birds, one creature had become a legend. Not for speed, not for size, but for his unshakable consistency. The tortoise. He was known far and wide as the king of deep work, the master of morning routines, the ambassador of self-control. While others chased fleeting motivation, he built identity through tiny, unbreakable habits. His mornings were masterpieces. Wake with the sunrise, cold plunge in the pond, mindful journaling, goal visualization, 4 hours of uninterrupted work before the squirrels even finished yawning. No scrolling, no swiping, no notifications. His focus was his superpower. The owl once said, "That tortoise doesn't just have discipline, he is discipline." But then, something shifted. And the shift didn't come with thunder or lightning. It came silently, as these things often do. One lazy afternoon, the hare bounced up to him, holding something shiny, something new. The FruitPod Pro 3.0, the hare grinned. It's not just tech, it's transformation. It uses AI to boost productivity, optimize microhabits, and stimulate your neuroperformance in real time. The tortoise blinked. "I have everything I need," he replied flatly. But the hare was persistent. "Come on, this isn't cheating, it's enhancement. This is the future." And that's where it began. He told himself it would be just one try, just one session, for research, for curiosity. But 1 hour turned into 2. One trial turned into a routine. And just like that, the tortoise stopped tracking the sun and started tracking his dopamine streaks. The next morning, something shocking happened. He overslept. The tortoise, the icon of discipline, missed his morning rituals. No sunrise journaling, no cold plunge, no focused deep work, just silence. And the forest noticed. "I heard he skipped his accountability walk," whispered the woodpecker. "I saw him swiping fruit videos," gasped the mole. What started as a crack became a landslide. The tortoise's entire system, his structure, his resilience, his clarity, began to wobble. The routines that once built him up began to betray him. His inner compass, once fine-tuned through cognitive discipline and environmental design, now spun wildly. And then came the crash. The tortoise had been scheduled to speak at the Forest Summit on Focus and Flow, a high-profile gathering of creatures from all over the region. His topic? Time blocking and long-term habit success. But he never showed up. Instead, they found him hours later, slumped by the stream, glazed eyes locked on the FruitPod screen, mind drowning in a never-ending loop of digital stimulation. It was the kind of crash no one expected, not from him. Digital burnout. The truth is, no creature, no matter how strong, can fight unlimited dopamine access without consequences. Even the tortoise. He retreated into his shell, physically and emotionally. The same tortoise who once taught about overcoming resistance and mental fatigue was now paralyzed by it. He had violated his own code. He felt like a fraud. For 4 days he didn't move. The birds flew past his hut in silence. The frogs gossiped in whispers. But on the 4th day, something changed. Laughter. Outside his hut, a group of young forest critters were acting out one of his old fables. The one about habit identity and how small, consistent actions lead to massive transformations. And something in him stirred. He realized something profound. Discipline was never about perfection. It was about return. He had taught others that failure is feedback, not the finish line. That breakdowns are blueprints, not death sentences. Now it was his turn to live that truth. He crawled out of his hut, Not fully restored, not fully ready, but resolved. He deleted the Fruit Pod app. He set a 30-day dopamine detox plan. No tech, no fruit swiping, just reflection, real-world connection, habit restoration. And on the base of the old learning tree, he posted a note. I failed. I got distracted. But the journey isn't over. I'm rebuilding brick by brick. Join me if you're tired of the scroll and ready for stillness. The next morning, 10 animals showed up. By the end of the week, there were 20. Because failure isn't final unless you refuse to learn. The tortoise wasn't the forest's flawless icon anymore. But now he was something better. He was real. Not just a symbol of discipline, but a symbol of resilience. In the days that followed, the tortoise faced the hardest challenge of all. Letting go of the shame. He wasn't just battling a bad habit. He was facing the voices in his head. The ones whispering, "You're not who you used to be. You've lost it. They won't respect you anymore." But he pushed forward. Every morning he took small steps. He returned to his morning ritual, journaling, reflection, stillness, no screens, no shortcuts. And on the 7th day, he walked back to the tree where it all began. The owl was waiting. "You've been silent," said the owl, "but I see something in your eyes. A return." The tortoise nodded. "I let it all slip. I got pulled into the loop. I broke everything I built." The owl leaned forward, his feathers glowing in the dusk light. "You didn't break it. You tested it. And now you rebuild it stronger." The tortoise looked up. "But what if I can't go back to who I was?" The owl smiled. "The forest doesn't need who you were. It needs who you're becoming." The truth is, nobody is immune to distraction. But the real strength is in the return. And so he began again. No grand declarations, just small, consistent actions. The tortoise wasn't chasing perfection anymore. He was embracing the slow, gritty climb back to clarity. He knew now success isn't about streaks. It's about systems. And those systems must be resilient to failure, not dependent on perfection. He taught again. He shared his failure. He opened his shell to others who were quietly drowning in digital chaos but didn't know how to escape. And slowly, the tortoise became a leader again. Not the one who never failed, but the one who showed others how to get back up. So let me ask you this. How many tabs are open in your mind right now? How many dopamine loops are keeping you from your deeper focus? How long since you've felt true stillness? Because the truth is, you don't need another hack. You don't need another gadget. You need a return to stillness, to focus, to yourself. You've heard of rock bottom, but what does the climb back up look like? It looks like the tortoise. Not perfect, but real and ready. If this story hit home, if you felt yourself slipping into distraction, burning out from endless scrolling, you're not alone. The tortoise's journey is our journey. Hit the like button if you've ever tried to rebuild. Subscribe if you want more stories that speak to the battle between modern distraction and timeless focus. And in the comments, tell us, what's one habit you want to return to starting today? Because your comeback starts now.